Welcome back to another video. It's been a while since I uploaded recently because I was really busy lately, and I'm sure you guys have seen the thumbnail, so you guys know what's coming. But there's been a lot going on lately, and a couple days ago was my birthday. I just turned 18, and one of the bigger things that I'm here to talk to you guys about is that I got funded. You know, one of the first step in becoming like actually making money online and making money trading and actually, you know, growing my account, my portfolio, all of that. That starts with getting a funded account, and I finally got one. Um, I will talk to you guys about which prop firm I decided going with. There's mainly two that are in the space right now that are really big, and I ended up choosing one of them. I do not recommend going with one of like the sketchier ones that they might have more deals and they might have like, oh, this account, it's like a $200,000 account for like really cheap. Like I recommend, especially if you're like new, I recommend going with one of the top prop firms because it allows you to guarantee a payout. They are really beginner friendly. They're they're ready to work with you. They have a really good support system. And there's a lot of people out there that have already passed accounts and that have seen account that like they've seen success on them, and it's not like sketchy or anything. I definitely recommend. So the top prop firms that I recommend going with are Top Step, Alpha. I don't think I'm going to go with Apex, but I know they do a lot of really good discounts. And if you were to buy one of their discounts, I would maybe consider going with Apex. And I would say that those are the top three that I would be looking at if you are interested in getting a prop firm. But yeah, on the note of the prop firm, so I ended up choosing Alpha Futures. I ended up getting an Alpha account, and I can actually pull up right here. I can pull up their rules a little bit. Oh my gosh, where did I go? Yo. Yo. Wait, give me a sec. Okay. Okay, there we go. Okay. So I ended up choosing Alpha because there's the main reasons why I ended up choosing Alpha is A, it's cheaper. If you are like I've been paper trading for 2 years, so I am expecting myself, I'm holding myself to pass my first funded. Like I have high expectations. I want to pass my first funded. I want to get a payout probably in the next month. And then I want to maybe by the end of the year get to the point where I can copy trade. But, I'm going to be a little bit aggressive. But I've also been paper trading for 2 years, a year and a half, 2 years, 2.5 years. I've been paper trading for a while. And one of the reasons why I decided to go with Alpha is because if you are anticipating the fact that you are going to pass your first account, Alpha Futures, if you get their zero plan, which is what I recommend, that's what I ended up doing. Um, they do not have an activation fee, so it's an upfront cost of $89 if you use a discount code, which I don't understand why you wouldn't. They so not only are they cheaper by like the other, I'd say Alpha and Top Step are the top two prop firms. Top Step is $50 activation or $50 fee, like standard monthly fee, and then they have a $150 fee that is an activation fee. Top Step, or that's Top Step. Alpha has a not Alpha has $100 fee, like a monthly fee, and then they have no activation fee. And usually they always have discount codes that they give to content creators, so you can always get like 10% off. So it should only cost you like $90 a month, assuming you don't pass within the first month, then it will rebill you. But not only the fact that Alpha's cheaper, again, assuming you are passing. They also have better payout rules. Like as you can, if you can see, you can only copy trade 3 accounts with Alpha, which is a little bit iffy. And they also have a 40% consistency rule once you get funded. But I'm not really worried about that because I'm not scalping. I just trade one model. It is very simple, and if I see a trade, I'm usually risking and making the same amount, so I don't have to worry about consistency. Their resets are $79, which is, again, a lot more expensive than Top Step. But again, you're assuming, if you're buying Alpha, you're assuming you're going to pass. If you're buying Top Step, you're assuming, hey, I might not pass this, but I want a shot at a funded. That's why you're buying Top Step. Or you're buying Top Step because you are 100% sure you're going to pass and you just want to be able to copy trade more accounts. So, and then they also only have a maximum contract size of 3 contracts, which compared to Top Step, I think you can trade 5. But that is also a little bit, a little bit sketchy. But I'm trading the minis, and at the point where I'm at, there's no way I'm going to be trading 3 minis ever in a trade. Like, that is, what is that, 30 micros? That's absurd. So I don't think I ever have to worry about that. Usually my max trade, I'll be in 2 minis. I've never hit a trade that I've been in 3 minis before. I'd have to have a really tight stop, and I don't think I'm there yet. But their maximum drawdown is $2,000. Their daily drawdown is $1,000, and the best part about Alpha that I realized is that once you do pass your account, you don't need to build a buffer. So like when you're on Top Step and you pass your account, you need to build a buffer because right when you take your payout, your drawdown goes from 48,000 instead of being at 48,000, your drawdown gets bumped up to 50,000. And it doesn't follow you from there, but it does get bumped up by $2,000, which means you're going to have to build a $2,000 buffer. Now, on Alpha, you don't have to worry about that. You don't have to build a buffer. You can just take your payout. I think you can also request more on Alpha, if I remember correctly. It's either more, I think it's more than Top Step, but I could be wrong. If I'm wrong, let me know in the comments. Also, I'm sure there's a bunch of other content creators out there that you follow that you probably see their, their posts like, oh, use my discount code, whatever, blah, blah, blah. There's TJR, he has a code, TJR, that's it. Aval, he has a code, Aval. Jack, he has a code, it's just Jack. There's a bunch of content creators out there that have codes. So I've been paper trading for like 2 years now, and I just ended up getting a funded. If you've been trading, like my friend, he ended up getting a funded. He got a funded before me, and I think he was paper trading for like a year and a half. So he was paper trading a little bit less than me, and he ended up getting a funded sooner. But he also blew a couple accounts. My other friend, he has been trading for not as long as us, but he got a funded before both of us. And I think he blew more accounts than my other friend, or at least close to that amount, and he ended up finally passing. And my other friend's about to pass actually too. But they ended up learning a bunch of lessons that they ended up having to learn because they were spending money and they were going through like, oh man, I can't continue to do this because it's like I can't afford to lose anymore. So then they started following the rules, they started adjusting their strategy, and now they're actually seeing results. They're seeing success. And, great, phenomenal work. But if you really want to, skip out on the fact that, skip out on those profits that you're going to end up losing or like those accounts that you're going to blow. You can completely skip that step if you listen to what I'm going to tell you right now. You can completely skip that step if you just trade on paper. You trade on paper until you pass. You follow all these rules right here that are on the screen that are above me. Follow all of them. Make a mock funded account on paper trading, and just follow all those rules. And don't stop until you pass 5 accounts without failing one or blowing one. If you blow one, you reset, and then you keep trading until you can pass 5. And also make sure you're not revenge trading, make sure you're not over leveraging, and make sure you are like following all of your trading rules and not just entering, okay? Because if you can do that, I guarantee you aren't going to blow funded. One of the biggest things that I realized is confidence. Confidence is a huge importance, or it's a huge factor, not just in trading, but in passing fundeds and in live accounts. Because if you're not confident in your setup or your model, you're going to be hesitant on entering. And if you're hesitant on entering, you're going to get bad entries. And the worse entry you get, the worse your position is, the more likely you're going to get stopped out. So if you are hesitant and you are not confident in your model and you're not confident in your trading abilities, you should not be on a funded or a live account because you're just going to blow and lose all that money. Why would you you don't have to, I see all these people, influencers online. They ended up like TJR, one of his videos, he ended up, I'm not hating by the way, but one of his videos, he said that he ended up making $100,000 when he was, he just started trading and then he ended up losing it all, right? He ended up getting that funded account. I'm sure he ended up getting that account before he was ready for it, right? And then he ended up like, maybe he was ready, and maybe he did end up like just following his model, and he ended up making, I think he made a couple bands, right? And then he over leveraged his account, and he made $100,000 by over leveraging. Okay? He made all this money, but he wasn't profitable, and what happened? He lost it all. Okay? It was a great learning experience, and it got him, that was probably one of the key things that happened in his life that got him to where he is today. Like outside of hard work, dedication, all of that, right? But if you just wait until you're profitable and then you get the funded account, you're not going to have to worry about losing, like you're not going to have to worry about losing money. You're not going to have to explain to your parents why you're going broke. You're not going to have to be like, man, I can't afford to do this. You're not going to have to give up on your dreams. You're going to be able to just be patient, practice, and boom, you're successful. You're profitable. And now you passive funded, and now you're getting payouts, and now all of that stress and all of that hard work is finally paying off. And you're like, man, I spent all this time trying to get here, and like you finally get there, and you finally get those dreams. You finally make those dreams come true. That is just from patience. It's from patience. It's from progress. It's from realizing that you can't force this, and it has to be done by time. Time in the market, time practicing your strategy, time by taking the time you need, like not trading some days, trading extra some days by back testing. It's just patience. The life is full of patience, full of moments that will test you. And if you're not to the point where you can be tested, right? Like you're not at the point where, oh, a model shows up, but you already took 2 trades today and you lost both of them, you should not be trading. Okay? That's over leveraging. You're going to over leverage your account. You're going to over risk because you lost 2 times. And you're going to be like, man, you're going to blow the account. Like it's simple. You don't realize how long I've waited for this moment. I've waited to get a funded probably. I've been paper trading for about 2 years, okay? I've been paper trading for 2 years. And I wanted to buy a funded a year ago. And I said, no, I'm not allowed. I'm not going to allow myself because I'm not profitable. And then 6 months ago, I was like, okay, I'm actually seeing results. I'm going to buy a funded. And I'm like, no, I'm not buying a funded. I really wanted to, but I was like, okay, let me do a mock funded and let me actually get my strategy down. 3 months later, boom, I got my strategy. I know how I trade. I'm like, okay, I know my model. I've practiced mock fundeds. I think I'm ready. No, I'm not ready. Okay? Why am I not ready? I have a model. I've done the 3 fundeds. I've practiced. My psychology sucked. Okay? Every time I missed a trade, I would get in my head and I'd be like, man, I missed that, and I would over leverage. Or I would be like, oh, I'm not confident, but I'm scared, and I'd have FOMO, and I would enter a trade I shouldn't be entering. Like my psychology absolutely sucked 3 months ago. And I'm like, okay, I can't get it funded because I'm just going to blow it and I'm going to waste all this money and it's not going to be worth it. Psychology is the most important factor, right? Other than, like, obviously you have to know how to trade, which is, it took me probably a year and a half of paper trading to figure out how to trade. And then that last 6 months was just me working on psychology. And without that 6 months, I would have blown 20 plus fundeds because I wouldn't understand why I would be losing. I wouldn't understand that it's not about your strategy when you're trading. It's about your psychology. Because if you have bad psychology, you don't understand risk, you don't understand leverage, you don't understand how the market sometimes doesn't move in your favor, and you also won't understand what is a good trading day, okay? Your strategy only works in certain situations. It doesn't, your strategies, nobody has 100% strategy, which means if it's not 100%, it doesn't always work. And there's certain market conditions where it works better than other certain market conditions. And you have to be able to realize when you should be trading. Okay? Where does that come from? That's not a strategy, it's psychology. It's, should I be trading today or should I just take the day off? It's, should I be risking more because this is a A plus setup, or should I be risking less because this is a, it's not a great setup, but you have a strong draw and you see your model. Then you're like, okay, market's a little choppy, I'll take it, but I'm de-risking, right? Or it's, okay, I'm going on paper for this one. I'm not going to force or blow my account over a stupid trade I shouldn't be taking, right? And then let's say it does play out and you're on paper, back test it and see if, like, maybe it occurred last week. Maybe it occurred 2 days ago. And maybe it's actually a new strategy you could implement in the future, but you need practice to be able to do that. TGR's bootcamp is great if you don't know how to trade. It's beautiful. That's how I learned how to trade. I learned everything: inverse fair value gaps, SMT, break of structure, all that good stuff. Then I went to Justin Werlein. I learned CISD. I learned the Forever model. I learned all of that, and that is a majority of what my current model is based on today, right? It's a mix of TJR strategy and Justin Werlein strategy. But after that, after you learn how to trade, then you're kind of on your own, right? Nobody really talks about the steps you have to take, or the steps that, like, the best steps to take to seeing a payout, to seeing the progress you need to see to be able to buy a funded and to pass that, right? Everybody's like, oh, you're just going to blow fundeds. And, you know, I blew $20,000 worth of fundeds before I saw a payout, or I blew $10,000 before I saw a payout, or it took me 3 years of funded accounts to learn how to trade. But nobody actually talks about what they did to be able to see their results that they're seeing right now. Like, they talk about their model, they talk about the trades they're taking, but they don't talk about what's the gray area that's in between. That's the period that I'm in right now, at least that I've been in, which is psychology. Okay? Psychology, like, watch TJR's bootcamp. He does psychology videos that actually are really beneficial, but they don't compare to you actually hopping on the charts, looking at a trade, and being, I'm going to enter. That is completely different. And the psychology and the patience and the discipline you need to not just overtrade, revenge trade, you need to be really good at psychology to not just force a trade. Like, it is hard. It is probably one of the hardest things you are ever going to do, because it's an internal battle. It's a battle between yourself and yourself, because part of you is like, man, I really just want to trade, and part of you is just in it for the money, and you need to tune that guy out. So you, like, your patience and your discipline, that needs to overpower the greed and the lust you have, because if it doesn't, you're going to blow a funded. I plan on doing a psychology video later down the line talking about exactly what I did, like that 6 month gap on how I was tuning myself and fixing my psychology and practicing, and the struggles that I went through. I plan on making a video talking about all of that. I mean, I'm already at 22 minutes right now before I edit it, and I don't want to make this like an hour-long video. I feel like that's a bad idea. So if you're still watching right now, drop a like and subscribe if you want to see more content. You know, it really helps. If you're a content creator, you understand that. If not, you don't understand how much, so like, how much I appreciate it and how much it actually helps by just liking and subscribing. It's all free, no cost, but it would really help me out if you did. If you don't like the content, don't worry about it. You can scroll. You never have to see me again. But I would really appreciate it if you could do that. Again, psychology is a thing that you have to continuously work at. It's not a one and done thing. Oh, I mastered psychology, now you forget about it. No, you can't do that, because then that's that's pride talking. That's pride coming in and saying, I'm good enough that I don't need to work on myself. You know, and when you let pride come into your life, like as talked about in the Bible, it's one of the 7 deadly sins. That is what prevents you from actually seeing the rewards that God bestowed upon you. You can't let pride come into you and take over your control, take over your body. Otherwise, you're just going to end up letting it control. Like, if pride is how you're living, if you're living prideful and lustful and you're not living holy, then, like in trading, you won't, if you're taking stuff that you shouldn't be because you have bad psychology, you're not going to pass the funded. You're not going to see the results you want. In life, if you're letting pride and lust and all the 7 deadly sins take over your life, you're not going to see the rewards that God bestowed upon you, right? Like, he made Adam, he made Eve from Adam, right? So everyone has a soulmate. If you're not, if you're not locked in on God, and you're not chasing him, and you're not like actively pursuing him or pursuing a relationship, you're not going to find your Eve. You're not going to find your soulmate. If you are if you are living lustful or you have like a eating problem, like you have gluttony or any of those sins, they are going to be preventing you from living your life freely, because each sin that you have is like a chain around your neck or a chain you have to carry, and you know it weighs you down. It makes it really hard to keep going when your back is full of chains. Like, they're not heavy. It's not like a little chain. Like, it's thick and it's heavy and it's hard to walk with. And the more you live in that sin and play with it, the more links that get added on, and the more that it wraps around you. And it's not like the devil that wraps it around you. It's you're wrapping it around yourself. You're the one that is choosing to live in sin. You're the one that's choosing sin over him. And you're putting all this pressure and stress and weight on yourself when you don't need to. You just need to take a break, you need to relax, and you need to just, you know, you don't have to be perfect. I'm not saying I'm not saying you have to be perfect. I'm just saying if you focus your energy on becoming something greater, if you focus your energy on not living for this world, but and not living and worrying about what's happening around you, like, pride comes from your ego, lust comes from adultery, gluttony comes from food. If you're not living for this world and focusing on, these worldly desires, and you're focusing instead on spirituality and the gifts from above, then and only then will you find peace, success, and self-love. Because at the end of the day, it's not about how much money you made or what type of job you did or how successful your career was. It's about the experiences you made on the way. It's about the people you helped on the way, and it's about the impact you left on the world. And if you made a positive impact and you inspired others and you helped other people, well then it doesn't matter how much money you had, because if you enjoyed your life and you have self-love for who you are, and you enjoy waking up every day, going to work, doing whatever you're doing, that's what life is meant to be. You will eventually overcome whatever obstacle you're trying to overcome or achieve, whether that be in your life, whether that be in trading, whatever you're trying to do. There's going to be struggles, but without struggles, you wouldn't appreciate the gifts later on. So, anyways, I feel like I've done yapped enough, so I will see you guys in the next video. So, thank you for watching. Again, drop a like if you're still watching, subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.